Hello, and welcome to this mini training on how to structure your programs. And I want to show you how to do it in a way that feels simple, that feels straightforward, so you can skip the trial and error, knowing what to include, what to exclude, what your people really need to know so that they don't get overwhelmed in actually seeing your content and going through your programs, and you don't get overwhelmed in the creation process so you can actually complete what you set out to do. So, if you are new to me, hello, my name is Lauren Monique, and I have been a curriculum designer, a teacher mentor in my business. And then I started helping entrepreneurs with their systems, simplifying how they're running their businesses. And I have now blended all of those things together, and I help entrepreneurs, especially established coaches and experts, mentors. I help you create your signature programs. So, everything from how to structure it to how to deliver it well, to getting the systems all ready to go so you can make it really, really scalable in a way that's super, super supportive, personalized, all those awesome things. So I want to show you in this video a way of seeing how to structure your ideas, your content that really delivers like a quality experience and really lends itself to creating fantastic results, even in a group format. So I'm going to show you that today, and I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started. Okay, so let's talk about what you need to think about when you are structuring your content. So I like to see it like this as a triangle, and there are kind of three phases to structuring your content. So the thing that I've noticed is that oftentimes experts tend to start thinking about their course topics first, or coaches often think about the methodologies they're going to use. Maybe they think about EFT or breath work or whatever it is that they're creating, self-love, all that kind of stuff. And when we start thinking with that first, it can be really hard to understand what we need to include, what we don't need to include. The whole process can feel really overwhelming. And the reason for this is because we're starting at a later step and we don't have the foundations in place. And when you don't have this foundational piece in place, it's honestly going to cost you money. And the reason for this is A, you're going to get super overwhelmed in what you're creating. You're not going to finish it. Or you're going to put in all your expertise and all your layers, and it's either not going to sell well, or the people who join might get overwhelmed. Might not finish your program. They might not get the results. You might not get the testimonials to sell it again. Like, it's really, really crucial that you have a program that has exactly what people need, no more. And it's really lends itself well to creating that transformation. It is a process that you can count on, that you can use again and again. So what is that process? How do we need to start? The first thing you need to think about in phase one is your scope. What is the scope that you are going to include? Because if you are an expert or a mentor or some sort of coach leader, you likely have years of experience and expertise that you can share with people. The problem is you can't necessarily fit in years of expertise into a 3-month program or a 6-month program. You need to know what to include and what to leave out. So when you have a scope, it's like saying, okay, I know I need this, I need this, I need this part of my expertise, but I don't need all of it. So when you're thinking about your scope, the big ideas to keep in mind is you need to know where your people are when they start with you and where they want to go. So where they start with you are things like what's their pre-existing knowledge? What do they already know about this topic? What are some things that they need to learn? What are some mistakes they're making? That's kind of where they are. What's the problem that you solve? And then the scope is where they want to go. It's not what you know they need, it's what they want. And how are you going to get them there? So going from where they are to where they want to go and finding that path. So that's kind of identifying your scope. And this is going to be really important for you if you are if you've been coaching one-on-one or you've been working one-on-one, you may have had a wider scope. You may have been helping people solve multiple different problems. And when you narrow it in, you want to have a clear scope of this is what my program does, because it's going to be able to help you leverage, help more people in one container. So an example for me was when I started working with entrepreneurs and I was working one-on-one, I had a really large scope. I could help people systematize their businesses so that they were working less, so their businesses were working more efficiently. I could help them create their programs, like their outlines, how they were mapping out their programs. I could help them with their launches strategies. I could help them with their funnels. Like there were all sorts of things that I was helping entrepreneurs with. But when I started getting really clear on my program, I needed to choose one clear problem that I was going to solve. And that was, I want to help entrepreneurs create their signature programs, right? I wanted to help them create that. That's that one thing. And then I started getting clear on what is that pre-existing knowledge. So usually my best clients, when I think about their pre-existing knowledge, is like, if I'm thinking that the problem that they have is like, they want to create a course or they want to create a signature program. You need to get a sense of where their pre-existing knowledge is, because someone who is at the beginning of their journey, say they're here, they are going to have a really different experience and level of knowledge than someone who's here. So for me, for example, I'm best suited to work with coaches and mentors who have already worked with clients one-on-one, who have already maybe had some sort of group, who already have an audience. They have a lot of those pieces in place, and now they're looking to really take their knowledge, their expertise, and they really want to create this signature program that they can count on, right? That person is going to have different existing knowledge than someone who is brand new to business. Does that make sense? So even though the problem is the same, that they want to create a program, someone here versus someone here is going to have different pre-existing knowledge, which is going to affect my scope and what is included in my program. So I'd love for you to think about, what is your scope? Where are people at when they start with you? And where do people want to go at the end? Like, what is that transformation? That's the first level, is getting clear on your scope. So from there, and the thing I want you to think about too is with this is like a house. This is your foundation. Yes, you can think about how to, what topics you're going to do, what kind of methodologies or strategies you're going to use. But if you don't have a clear scope, it's going to be really hard to know how to actually structure your program. So that's the first thing. The second level that you need to think about is the sequence. The sequence. So that's when you start thinking about topics. You're going to think about what order they're going in, how you're framing things up so that you can get people to the final result. This is also when you start thinking about the order. So you're brainstorming what you might need to include and then thinking about the order. So like for me, for example, I started thinking about, okay, what do my people need to know? They might need to know about, well, they definitely need to know about how to create their program. So like program design. They'll definitely need to think about, okay, I definitely need to show them what an offer is and show you how to create that magnetic offer so that they can sell it. They're going to need to know about systems, different things like that, right? But then I started thinking, okay, what's the best order based on where people are at when they start with me to where they want to go? Well, I know that they need to know offers, but when I was started to thinking about it, if you're going to create something like a bonus and you don't know what your program is going to look like, that's going to be really tricky. So in my program, I have offers, part one, and then my program design, and then offers part two. So this is like foundations, and this is more about how to add those extra layers to make it more magnetic so people are really interested in what you're doing, right? So this is when you had the scope, then you're taking your sequence, you're thinking about brainstorming the topics and putting them in order. And then the last thing that you want to think about, and I'm going to erase these here. The last thing to think about are your results. How are you going to get your clients results? So this is when we start thinking about what your lessons are going to include, what your like your different strategies, I call them implementation strategies. What implementation strategies are you going to use so that you can actually get results? Are you going to have check-ins? Are you going to have like what kind of like sometimes people say, "Oh, should I have one-on-one calls in my program?" That depends on how you are planning on getting your clients result. What kind of results? What kind of action steps should they include? I also teach about mini result milestones. Mini result milestones are the mini results that lead to that final result. That is what you're putting in number 3. You're planning out those mini results. So you're not just ending with topics. You're getting clear on these are the results that my program is going to create. And it's like the stepping stones along the way, right? Stepping stones along the way. And then what do I need to put in place within my actual program outline so that I can make those things happen? What are different implementation strategies? Maybe you're going to have meditations. Maybe you're going to have collaboration calls. Maybe you're going to have different homework pieces. Maybe you're going to have check-in calls. What are the different implementation strategies that you're going to use and different strategies to make sure that your clients are getting results? But you can't really come up with those things. And that's going to be like, EFT, breath work if you're a coach, whatever kind of methodology you want to use. But you can't get to that before you know your scope and your sequence. So let's review the main things that you want to take a look at when you're structuring your program. It's getting first clear on your scope. Where are your people when they start with you? Where do they want to go? Not what they need. You're going to put that in the middle, okay? But where do they start, or where are they when they start with you? Where do they want to go? And what is it that they need within that? Number 2 is you're going to start thinking about your sequence. So what are the different topics? What order does it need to go in? And then number 3, you're going to think about how am I going to take these topics that I've put into order? What extras am I going to add so that people aren't just learning, they are getting results too? Does that make sense? So first off, I would love to hear from you. If you found this helpful, you can send me a message at laurenminique.business on Instagram. I would love to hear from you. And take a look at my channel because I have a few different videos that will help you design your signature program. Okay, talk soon.